Sumerian civilization, revolutionary inventions that changed the world. Imagine standing in the heart of present-day Iraq, surrounded by endless stretches of golden desert beneath a blazing sun. It seems almost impossible to believe that more than 5,000 years ago, this arid landscape was once home to one of the world's most magnificent civilizations, the Sumerians. While most of humanity still lingered in the rudimentary Stone Age, a mysterious group emerged here and defied the course of history. They built complex cities, invented the world's first system of writing, and charted the stars with astonishing accuracy. This is not a tale spun from myth or legend. It is the true story of the Sumerians, humanity's first great architects of civilization. To this day, their origins remain one of history's most enduring enigmas. Where did they come from? And how did they acquire such profound knowledge, far surpassing their contemporaries? Picture the ancient world. In the barren lands of Mesopotamia, colossal towers suddenly rose toward the heavens. Intricate irrigation canals twisted through the land like lifelines, and a refined writing system materialized from nothingness, marking the dawn of recorded human history. This was the world of the Sumerians, a pioneering civilization that laid the very first foundation stones of human society. Their explosive development stands in stark contrast to the global backdrop of their time. While other tribes struggled daily for survival, the Sumerians were already building cities that housed tens of thousands, managed by sophisticated administrative systems and specialized professions. What sparked such a radical transformation? In the journey ahead, we will peel back the layers of mystery surrounding this lost civilization, from tales of divine beings descending from the heavens to timeless scientific breakthroughs that still shape our world today. The true story of the Sumerians is more compelling than even the wildest theories. It promises an intellectual adventure unlike any other. Were they guided by a higher source of knowledge? Or did their genius erupt in ways we have yet to understand? Let us uncover the astonishing evidence behind the mysterious origins of this remarkable civilization. The mysterious pioneers. Around 5000 BCE, an extraordinary phenomenon unfolded in southern Mesopotamia, a land that today lies within southern Iraq. While the vast majority of humankind still lived in primitive Stone Age communities, relying on rudimentary tools and scattered settlements, something remarkable was taking place. The Sumerians were not merely another group of settlers, they were the architects of a sophisticated civilization, marking a breathtaking leap forward in the evolution of human society. Nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the region of Mesopotamia was a fertile alluvial plain, enriched annually by seasonal flooding. The Sumerians harnessed this geographic advantage to the fullest, developing an advanced agricultural system with intricate irrigation techniques. What was once barren land bloomed into lush fields of barley, wheat, dates, and vegetables. This agricultural abundance became the solid foundation for the emergence of the world's first cities. Among them stood Uruk, one of the most prominent ancient Sumerian cities, which at its peak around 2900 BCE may have supported a population of 40,000 to 80,000 people. Surrounded by formidable city walls, Uruk was not merely a place of residence. It was a vibrant hub of trade, religion, and administration. What made Sumerian civilization so astonishing was the sophistication of its social and administrative structure. They engineered a complex society with codified laws, systems of taxation, and a tightly organized bureaucracy. Their capacity for organization far surpassed that of simple tribal communities. Not only could they count and record, but they created an intricate accounting system to manage trade transactions and agricultural production with remarkable precision. This economic prosperity is believed to have been the key driver behind one of humanity's greatest inventions, writing. By the end of the 4th millennium BCE, around 3150 BCE, the cuneiform script was born. Initially developed as pictographs representing goods and their distribution, these symbols served basic commercial needs. But over time, cuneiform evolved into a fully developed writing system with a near-infinite vocabulary, a powerful tool for recording stories, poetry, and legal codes. This flexibility enabled cuneiform to endure for over 2 millennia and serve as the foundation for many ancient languages, including Babylonian, Hittite, and Old Persian. It is a testament to the resilience and superiority of the Sumerian writing system. Yet one question continues to puzzle researchers. How did a single community make such a dramatic leap from simple settlements to a highly advanced civilization within such a short span of time? This sudden and unprecedented development challenges the very foundations of conventional historical theory. To unravel the mystery, we must look deeper at the earliest and most controversial clue of all, their language. A linguistic enigma so profound that even the world's top scholars remain baffled. Clues from a distant land. The Sumerians referred to themselves as the black-headed people, a name that reveals nothing about their mysterious origins. What truly confounds linguists and has fueled countless theories is their language, Sumerian, which scholars classify as a language isolate. This means it has no known relatives, no linguistic family ties with other regional languages, such as Akkadian, Hebrew, or Sanskrit. Imagine a language that stands entirely alone, without a known ancestor or descendant. It's as if Sumerian was crafted from the void, made uniquely for them. This singularity immediately raises an intriguing possibility. Was Sumerian the product of a sudden appearance? Or did it arrive from a land far, far away? If the Sumerians were indeed native to Mesopotamia since time immemorial, why does their language show no connection to those spoken by their neighbors? The isolation of Sumerian has led to a spectrum of hypotheses about their origins. Some experts suggest this may hint at a prehistoric migration from a distant region, perhaps a place where their language was never recorded or has since vanished. One theory proposes they came from the east, near the Indian subcontinent, where parallels in mythology and urban design appear compelling. Others point to North Africa. Intriguingly, modern genetic research supports the idea that pre-Semitic cultures in the Middle East may have originated in North Africa, strengthening this hypothesis. Could the Sumerians have descended from prehistoric migrants out of Africa? Another line of thought focuses on prehistoric groups such as the Ubaid in the south and the Elamites in the east, both believed to have evolved from or been influenced by the Samara culture, a Neolithic farming society that thrived in northern Mesopotamia around 5500 BCE. Although the Ubaid are rarely mentioned in Sumerian texts, they are considered the first civilized inhabitants of Sumer. Pioneers who drained marshes for agriculture, developed trade, and mastered crafts like spinning, leatherwork, metallurgy, and pottery. This suggests a clear cultural continuity from the Ubaid period to early southern Mesopotamian settlements. Perhaps the Sumerians were a natural progression of these prehistoric communities, yet with an extraordinary leap in cultural and technological complexity. Still, some scholars reject the notion of an ancestral proto-language or pre-Semitic root. They argue that Sumerian may have been the language of fishing and hunting peoples living in the marshes and coastal areas of eastern Arabia. These populations belong to the so-called two-edged, polished axe culture. One prominent archaeologist has even theorized that the Sumerians once lived along the eastern Arabian coast, what is now the Persian Gulf, before that area was submerged at the end of the last ice age. This theory suggests a maritime migration and perhaps even a global flood narrative, echoes of which are found in numerous ancient cultures. In one of the more unusual and lesser-known theories, some researchers challenge the isolate status of Sumerian altogether. They propose that it might belong to the Altaic language family, possibly related to modern Chuvash, a Turkic language. As a fusional and agglutinative tongue, Sumerian shares features with languages spoken in the Caucasus and Central Asia, regions located roughly 700 kilometers north and northeast of ancient Sumer. If this connection is ever confirmed, it could radically alter our understanding of the Sumerians and their links to broader human history. The coexistence of isolated Sumerian and Semitic Akkadian within the same geographical and cultural space presents what scholars refer to as the Sumerian problem, a linguistic paradox. How could two peoples, so closely intertwined in culture and location, speak entirely unrelated languages? Akkadian, a primitive Semitic tongue, eventually became widespread across Mesopotamia, evolving into several later languages. And yet, almost every major cultural aspect, art, architecture, literature, was inherited directly from the Sumerians. This deepens the mystery of Sumerians' origins and highlights the complex relationship between the two civilizations. But could there be something more hidden behind these linguistic theories? To continue unraveling this enigma, we must turn to a much older tale, one that may hold vital clues. The myth of Owans, a half-human, half-fish being said to have brought divine knowledge to humankind. Owans in the King List, myth or history? In the rich tapestry of ancient Sumerian mythology, there appears a wondrous being known as Owans, a creature shrouded in mystery, said to possess knowledge that transcends time. Described as half-man, half-fish, Owans was believed to have emerged from the sea to teach the Sumerians the art of city building and the skills necessary to establish civilization. Strangely, when the sun set, Owans would return to the depths of the water, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. At first glance, this tale might seem like pure myth, but beneath its fantastical surface lies a layered narrative, one that has inspired some of the boldest theories in modern scholarship. In today's academic world, ancient myths are not dismissed as mere fiction. Rather, they are studied as possible fragments of collective memory, encoded and passed down through generations. A widely accepted interpretation of the Owans legend suggests that it may be a distorted memory of maritime migrants, seafarers who brought advanced knowledge of agriculture, urban planning, and engineering from distant coastal regions, catalyzing the Sumerian rise. There are intriguing parallels between Mesopotamian and ancient Indian cultures, hinting at a seaborne migration route. Maritime archaeology supports this, revealing that even in prehistoric times, humans undertook long-distance sea voyages, not only transporting goods but also ideas, technologies, and beliefs. However, some propose far more audacious theories. One such idea posits that Owans was not merely a cultural symbol, but evidence of contact with an advanced civilization, perhaps even extraterrestrial. Supporters of this view often cite the rapid and unexplained development of Sumer as a sign of outside intervention, far beyond what contemporary civilizations were capable of. To further explore this possibility, we must examine one of Sumer's most curious and debated artifacts, the Sumerian King List. Imagine unearthing a text that claims a single king reigned for 2800 years and another for 36,000. This is exactly what the Sumerian King List records, a collection of clay tablets listing ancient kings and their reigns. The list begins with a cryptic phrase, "Then kingship descended from heaven." These words have fueled generations of speculation about divine intervention, celestial beings, or even alien contact. What are we to make of these staggering numbers? Most modern scholars agree that the King List is not a literal historical account, but rather a blend of myth and political narrative. Ancient rulers often exaggerated the length of their reigns to legitimize their power, portraying themselves as superhuman figures ordained by the heavens. Yet the sheer scale of the numbers still raises a profound question. Why did the Sumerians record reigns that stretched into tens of thousands of years? Perhaps these durations weren't merely symbolic or propagandistic. Could they reflect an alternative system of measuring time, or encode a deeper, forgotten truth? Even more surprising is that some figures once thought to be mythical have been verified by archaeology. For instance, Enme-Barajesi, the first known king of Kish around 2800 BCE, was identified through inscriptions on a fragment of a vase found in the ruins of Nippur. Another ruler in the King List, the legendary Gilgamesh, is said to have reigned for 126 years and was described as two-thirds divine. Yet archaeological evidence suggests he may have been a real historical figure who ruled around 2700–2600 BCE. This blurring of myth and history adds a compelling dimension to the King List. Far from being dismissed as fantasy, the discovery that real historical kings appear on the same list as seemingly mythological ones has changed the way scholars interpret it. Today, rather than rejecting the entire document, researchers scrutinize it more closely, questioning whether other entries, however improbable, might also contain elements of truth. Currently, 16 versions of the Sumerian King List have been found, spanning different periods but containing fundamentally similar content, underscoring its cultural significance and credibility. Could there be hidden meaning encoded in those implausible numbers? Could the king list be a vessel for both history and symbolism, fact and myth intertwined? As we seek answers, we must now turn to one of the most provocative theories in ancient history, one that involves the Anunnaki, beings said to have descended from the sky. Were they gods, astronauts, or simply misunderstood metaphors for a truth we are only beginning to grasp? Anunnaki, gods or cosmic travelers. In ancient Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki were a council of powerful deities, believed to have descended from the heavens to shape the world and intervene in human destiny. They were said to be the offspring of An, the sky god, and Kai, the earth goddess, and part of a divine pantheon numbering 3,600 gods. These celestial beings held a central role in both the religious and societal fabric of Sumer. They were worshipped in vast temple complexes, honored through elaborate rituals, and invoked in everyday life. To the Sumerians, the Anunnaki were not distant abstractions, but real presences, influential entities directly intertwined with their daily existence. But in the 20th century, a controversial theory emerged that shook the academic world and captivated the public imagination. One theorist boldly claimed that the Anunnaki were not gods in the traditional sense, but rather extraterrestrial travelers from a distant planet called Nibiru. According to this theory, they created humankind by mixing their own genetic material with that of primitive humans, specifically to mine gold, a rare resource said to be dwindling on their homeworld. This hypothesis, while sensational, spread quickly, especially among enthusiasts of ancient mysteries and conspiracy lore. Despite its popularity, mainstream scholars have strongly rejected the theory. Experts in Sumerian language and culture have pointed out numerous errors in grammar, translation, and context within the cuneiform texts used to support the claim. Many details were either misinterpreted or entirely fabricated to fit a preformed narrative. From a scholarly perspective, the Anunnaki were symbolic, not physical beings. They embodied natural forces and cosmic order, deities who represented the heavens, the earth, social power, and the elements of the universe. Their evolving roles reflect the societal transformation of Sumer itself, from animistic beliefs tied to nature to a stratified system where gods mirrored human hierarchies. Still, one must ask, why does the alien theory remain so compelling despite the lack of academic support? Part of the appeal lies in humanity's enduring fascination with the unexplained. But more importantly, there's a vast archive of Sumerian knowledge that remains untouched. Hundreds of thousands of cuneiform tablets, many still untranslated, hold secrets about every aspect of Sumerian life. This immense knowledge gap invites speculation, imagination, and the allure of hidden truths waiting to be uncovered. Interestingly, in recent years, emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning have been applied to these ancient texts. These tools may soon revolutionize our understanding of Sumerian thought and belief, unlocking long-forgotten knowledge with breathtaking speed. In Sumerian medicine, for example, the divine and the earthly were deeply intertwined. The gods were not only objects of reverence but also seen as sources of both illness and healing, a striking fusion of spiritual and scientific worldviews. So what truly lies within these forgotten tablets? Mere administrative records, as many scholars argue, or extraordinary revelations about the origins of civilization? One thing is certain, the clay tablets of Sumer are far more than remnants of bureaucracy. They are vaults of ancient thought, waiting patiently for their secrets to be revealed. Decoding cuneiform, a forgotten treasure trove. With a vision far ahead of their time, the Sumerians left humanity an invaluable legacy. Hundreds of thousands of clay tablets, etched with one of the greatest inventions in human history, cuneiform script. Developed no later than 3500 BCE, this was not only the oldest known writing system in the world, but also a revolutionary tool that transformed how humans recorded and transmitted information. Formed by pressing a reed stylus into soft clay, the wedge-shaped marks of cuneiform were more than just functional. They were a refined form of art. The careful arrangement of symbols revealed a culture that valued not only communication, but aesthetic expression in written form. Initially devised for practical needs, accounting and trade, Cuneiform soon evolved beyond its humble origins. The earliest symbols represented commodities and distribution routes, allowing Sumerian merchants to manage long-distance transactions with precision. But as grammar and vocabulary were added, cuneiform blossomed into a powerful, flexible writing system. It could capture letters, laws, poetry, and more, culminating in one of the world's first great literary works, the Epic of Gilgamesh, also inscribed in cuneiform. This adaptability allowed the script to endure for more than 2,000 years, laying the foundation for numerous ancient languages across the Near East. The clay tablets left behind by the Sumerians form a vast archive of knowledge, containing everything from simple receipts and contracts to lyrical poems, detailed legal codes, and bureaucratic records. Each fragment is a puzzle piece in the grand mosaic of a lost civilization. Yet the greatest challenge lies not in what was recorded, but in how much remains unread. To this day, more than 500,000 tablets remain undeciphered. Decoding cuneiform demands highly specialized expertise. Many tablets are damaged, eroded, or buried in vast archives scattered across global institutions, making the task painstakingly slow. But recent archaeological discoveries have rekindled hope of unveiling the secrets long buried in clay. In May 2025, researchers at Kaburistan in northeastern Iraq announced a breakthrough: the discovery of 3 cuneiform tablets, the first of their kind ever found in that region. Initial analysis suggests they provide fresh insight into the lives of people who once inhabited the area, possibly even evidence of ancient conflict. By studying the names, vocabulary, and writing style, scholars hope to better understand the education, identity, and cultural character of this ancient city. One particularly intriguing tablet was unearthed in a layer of sediment filled with refuse and human remains, suggesting a dramatic episode in the site's past. At the same time, in December 2024, archaeologists uncovered a 4,500-year-old Sumerian palace at the Tello excavation site, the ancient city of Girsu. Scholars describe Girsu as the cradle of civilization, one of the most significant yet least known heritage sites on Earth. During the excavation, over 200 cuneiform tablets were found amid the ruins, many of which were detailed administrative records revealing the inner workings of city life. The discovery was made possible by aerial surveys and drone imagery, showcasing how modern technology is now working hand in hand with archaeology to peel back the layers of the past. These recent findings do more than enrich our understanding of Sumer. They raise new questions, proving that history is still being written every day. With the integration of cutting-edge tools like artificial intelligence and machine learning, the race to decode cuneiform is entering a bold new era. What secrets lie hidden within these ancient lines? What truths await untold stories, lost knowledge, buried in the script of clay? Among them may be stories as profound as the Epic of Gilgamesh, a narrative that forever altered the course of human history. The Great Flood, the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Echoes of Science. Among the oldest recorded stories in human history stands the Epic of Gilgamesh, a literary masterpiece that is not only a mythic tale, but also a vault of ancient wisdom and mystery. At its heart is the account of a man named Utnapishtim, who was forewarned by the gods of a cataclysmic flood destined to destroy humanity. To survive, Utnapishtim constructs a massive boat and gathers animals aboard to preserve life from the wrath of rising waters. The narrative feels hauntingly familiar. Indeed, it bears striking similarities to the biblical tale of Noah and the Great Flood. But the story of Utnapishtim was written thousands of years earlier. This is no coincidence. Instead, it suggests a shared cultural memory, a collective echo of a real catastrophic event, passed down through generations and transformed into mythology across civilizations. Archaeologists have uncovered compelling evidence of massive floods in Mesopotamia, thick layers of silt and mud embedded within Sumerian ruins. These geological traces are the tangible scars of a large-scale natural disaster, lending scientific support to the flood myth's historical core. This transforms the tale from one of divine punishment into a mythologized memory of survival, a story coded to carry lessons across time, warning of nature's overwhelming power and humankind's remarkable ability to adapt. One Sumerian clay tablet makes a particularly striking observation. It describes the land turning white, an accurate account of severe soil salinization caused by flood damage and poor irrigation. Such records show that the Sumerians not only remembered grand events, but also carefully noted subtle environmental changes, centuries before modern science. But the Epic of Gilgamesh extends beyond the flood. Interwoven within its mythic and heroic framework is what many consider a kind of ancient textbook of geography and mineralogy. It transmits detailed Sumerian knowledge of the natural world. At the same time, it delves deeply into the complexity of human emotion, exploring timeless themes: love, fear, hope, and mortality, ideas that continue to resonate through every age. Here we see the seamless fusion of religion, science, and philosophy in Sumerian society. Knowledge was not confined to administrative records, it was also embedded in symbolic, literary expression. That a tale as old as Gilgamesh can contain geological insight and environmental awareness is a testament to the sharp intellect and sophisticated worldview of its creators. The Sumerians were not just master storytellers, they were keen observers of their world, recording it in a voice that blended reality and myth with poetic precision. In doing so, they invited not only wonder, but critical reflection, challenging their audiences to engage with the world around them and to seek deeper truths even in the guise of legend. Modern geological studies have since confirmed that Mesopotamia experienced multiple major floods throughout its ancient history. Some of these were significant enough to leave deep impressions on the human psyche, further reinforcing the idea that Gilgamesh's flood narrative rests on a solid scientific foundation. Yet the Sumerians were more than chroniclers of divine stories. They were also visionary builders, architects of monuments that defied time, towers that reached skyward, symbols of ambition and devotion. Among them stood the awe-inspiring ziggurats, sacred step structures whose mysteries to this day reach beyond our understanding. Ziggurats, bridges between earth and sky, and the first observatories. Rising from the Mesopotamian plains like stairways to the heavens, the ziggurats of Sumer were not merely architectural marvels. They were spiritual monuments that embodied the soul of a civilization. These colossal structures, reminiscent of stepped pyramids, were the sacred symbols of Sumerian architecture and belief. The word ziggurat itself comes from the Sumerian term meaning to rise high, and their supreme purpose was just that, to bridge the mortal world and the divine realm, connecting earth and heaven through sheer monumental scale and intention. But these were not mere temples. They were hallowed sanctuaries where high priests performed intricate rituals, offered sacrifices, and maintained cosmic harmony through worship. Every brick, every tier, was an invocation of balance between the human and the celestial. Ziggurats also played a crucial economic role, acting as central hubs where offerings were gathered, resources distributed, and the daily needs of priests, laborers, and the poor were supported. The ziggurat of Babylon, one of the most famous in antiquity, was estimated to reach a height of over 90 meters, making it one of the tallest structures of its time. Many scholars believe that this towering ziggurat inspired the biblical tale of the Tower of Babel, the story of humankind's attempt to build a tower that touched the sky, only to be confounded by divine intervention and the division of languages. This connection underscores the far-reaching influence of Sumerian architecture, not only in the physical realm, but in the mythologies that shaped civilizations long after Sumer had faded. What is most astonishing, however, is that the Sumerians built these structures without modern machinery. Using mud bricks and natural bitumen, they achieved remarkable precision. Raising multi-ton bricks to dizzying heights required a sophisticated system of labor management and advanced engineering knowledge. Even their domestic architecture was remarkably efficient. Most homes were rectangular, 2 to 3 stories tall, with flat roofs where families slept during hot summer nights. Wealthier families lived in U-shaped homes centered around inner courtyards, spaces for socializing, worship, and family gatherings. But the true mystery of the ziggurats lies not just in their scale or construction, it lies in their celestial function. From the summits of these towering structures, Sumerian priests observed the night sky, tracking the motion of stars and planets with astonishing precision. These were not just temples, They were observatories, built to align with the heavens and receive messages from the cosmos. This reveals a profound integration of religion, science, and architecture in Sumerian life. Ziggurats were not only pathways for humans to reach the gods, they were also platforms for the gods to reveal the secrets of the universe. Modern research has shown that many ziggurats were deliberately oriented according to astronomical alignments, often correlating with constellations significant in Sumerian cosmology. This proves that the Sumerians practiced organized astronomical research, not casual stargazing. To construct such immense structures required not only massive physical resources, but also mathematical precision and scientific knowledge. It is clear that Sumerian society had reached a level of development that could support and coordinate large-scale architectural projects grounded in cosmological design. What then did they see from those lofty heights? What cosmic truths were revealed to these ancient minds? Without telescopes, without satellites, only with the naked eye and relentless curiosity. And how has that ancient knowledge shaped the very foundations of the modern world in ways we are only now beginning to rediscover? Sumerian astronomy, knowledge beyond time. From the towering summits of their ziggurats, Sumerian priests were not only spiritual guides, they were also the first astronomers in human history. Night after night, they watched the heavens, meticulously tracking the motion of stars and planets with astonishing dedication. What's truly remarkable is that they recorded the movement of Venus with a degree of accuracy that surpassed even medieval European astronomy. They were among the first to classify constellations such as Leo and Taurus, symbols that still appear in our modern zodiac. These early astronomers were also astrologers. They divided the sky into 12 zodiac signs, predicted solar and lunar eclipses, and developed a 12-month calendar based on the moon's cycle, forming the basis for today's lunisolar calendars. Their celestial knowledge served not only spiritual rituals, but also had profound practical applications, helping them determine the precise timing for agricultural seasons and religious festivals. By accurately predicting floods, droughts, and seasonal shifts, the Sumerians were able to optimize food production and safeguard resources. Most astonishing of all, they accomplished these feats without telescopes or modern instruments. Relying solely on naked eye observation and advanced mathematical reasoning, they charted the skies with clarity and precision. Their tools were simple yet ingenious. The sundial, which used the position of the sun's shadow to measure daytime hours, and the water clock, which marked time by the controlled flow of water from or into a container. These ancient instruments allowed for reliable timekeeping and revealed a society deeply committed to the pursuit of knowledge. But the legacy of Sumerian astronomy did not end with Sumer. The Babylonians, inheriting and expanding upon these traditions, built a vast library of astronomical records that would lay the foundation for what many historians consider the first scientific revolution. Their daily, monthly, and annual observations enabled them to predict celestial phenomena with increasing accuracy, what they regarded as divine omens. These Babylonian advancements would later influence Greek philosophers and astronomers, bridging ancient Mesopotamian insight with the classical world and shaping the very origins of Western science. This rich legacy reveals a deep interplay between empirical observation and spiritual belief. For the Sumerians, the sky was both a map and a message, and their ziggurats served as both temples and observatories, sacred places where the divine and the astronomical converged. Even today, we still carry echoes of Sumerian knowledge. The zodiac signs, the division of time, and even the idea of celestial influence on human destiny have roots in Sumerian cosmology. Concepts that seem modern are, in truth, thousands of years old, born under the starlit skies of ancient Mesopotamia. Yet astronomy was just one part of a broader intellectual inheritance. The Sumerians also gave us a mathematical legacy that would shape the world, a numerical system so advanced it continues to define how we measure space and time today, and underpins the foundations of every modern scientific calculation. Base 60 mathematics, a legacy that shapes the modern world. The ancient Sumerians were not only brilliant astronomers, they were also pioneers of mathematics, laying the groundwork for many numerical concepts we still use today. At first, they employed a base 5 counting system, a simple approach likely inspired by the number of fingers on one hand. Over time, however, they developed and began using both base 10 and, most significantly, base 60. This sexagesimal system became one of their most enduring legacies, deeply influencing how we measure time and space, even though most people today are unaware of its ancient origins. Have you ever wondered why 1 hour has 60 minutes or 1 minute has 60 seconds? Why a circle has 360 degrees? These standards all trace back to the Sumerian base 60 system, which was recorded on clay tablets in cuneiform script and later adopted by successive civilizations. The brilliance of this system lies in the number 60 itself, a highly divisible number with 12 factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, and 60. This made it ideal for accurate calculations and easy subdivision, especially in fields like commerce and astronomy, where precision was paramount. Beyond the sexagesimal system, the Sumerians and the broader Mesopotamian region achieved extraordinary mathematical advancements. They mastered all 4 basic operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. They understood fractions, exponents, square roots, and even cube roots. Remarkably, they compiled tables of roots for quick reference and solved algebraic equations with 3 unknowns, a level of mathematical sophistication far ahead of many of their contemporaries. In geometry, their expertise was equally impressive. Driven by practical needs such as land surveying and the construction of monumental architecture like the ziggurats, Sumerian mathematicians could calculate areas of rectangles, triangles, trapezoids, and circles, as well as the volume of truncated pyramids. Perhaps most astonishing of all is that they understood the relationship between the sides of a right triangle, essentially grasping the Pythagorean theorem long before Pythagoras was even born. This demonstrates a profound grasp of fundamental geometric principles developed independently and applied with remarkable precision. To record their calculations, the Sumerians used reed styluses pressed into clay, creating an elegant and durable numeric system. This mathematical legacy is not merely technical, it is a testament to their abstract thinking and intellectual brilliance. Understanding the origins of 60-minute hours, 60-second minutes, and 360-degree circles offers a personal moment of revelation. These seemingly modern concepts were in fact born thousands of years ago from a civilization deeply attuned to both the cosmos and the practicalities of daily life. Even modern geography bears the mark of this legacy. We still divide each degree of longitude and latitude into 60 minutes and each minute into 60 seconds. Further proof of how Sumerian mathematics continues to shape our world. To fully appreciate the genius of the Sumerians, we must look not only at their innovations, but also at the rich daily lives behind them. It is within these rhythms of society, labor, and tradition that the complexity of this extraordinary civilization truly comes to life. Occupational society and the role of women. Life in ancient Sumer was a vibrant mosaic structured around 3 central pillars: agriculture, commerce, and religion. It was a complex and hierarchical society with clearly defined social classes that ranged from the heights of power to the laboring base. At the top stood the king and royal family, followed by the priesthood and nobility. Beneath them was the middle class, craftsmen, merchants, and government officials, individuals who could live comfortably and rise through merit and trade. The lower tiers included laborers and farmers, whose lives were difficult yet not without opportunity. At the very bottom were the slaves, often prisoners of war or those sold into bondage by the elite. Yet even in slavery, Sumerian law offered basic protections, with regulations safeguarding the most fundamental rights of slaves. Most Sumerians were farmers, tending the fertile fields just beyond the protective walls of their cities. They cultivated staple crops like barley, wheat, dates, onions, garlic, lettuce, leeks, and mustard. They raised sheep, cattle, goats, and pigs, and fished the rivers and canals. Their mastery of irrigation systems turned harsh, arid land into productive farmland, providing a steady food supply for a growing population. Beyond agriculture, craftsmen were highly respected for their skills in pottery, fine textiles, and metalwork. Merchants played a vital role in driving the economy, facilitating the exchange of goods both within Sumer and with distant lands, ensuring prosperity for the city-states. Most people lived in rectangular mud brick houses, typically 2 or 3 stories tall, designed to stay cool in Mesopotamia's scorching climate. Roofs were flat and often served as sleeping spaces during the summer. Wealthier households were U-shaped, centered around a courtyard that served as a space for family gatherings, ceremonies, and hospitality. Education was highly valued, especially among the elite. Sumerians founded schools as early as the late 4th millennium BCE. Known as the House of Clay Tablets, these institutions taught boys from affluent families to read and write cuneiform. Teachers were called fathers, students were sons, and assistants were big brothers, revealing a tightly structured pedagogy. Discipline was strict, with beatings commonly used to enforce order. Scribes trained in these schools held esteemed positions, essential for maintaining law, commerce, and cultural memory. In politics and law, the Sumerians achieved early forms of representative governance. Around 3000 BCE, tablets record armed male citizens debating whether to go to war or make peace, an early version of a lower house. Their decisions were then sent to a council of elders, with the king's final say akin to an upper house or senate. This system revealed a remarkable level of civic engagement, involving multiple strata of society and governance. They also pioneered legal codification. The Code of Ur-Nammu, drafted near the end of the 3rd millennium BCE, is the oldest surviving written legal code in human history. It addressed social issues like sorcery, runaway slaves, and physical assault, but notably favored monetary compensation over corporal punishment, in contrast to later, harsher codes like that of Hammurabi. Other laws like the Lipit Ishtar Code and the laws of Ashnuna reflect a sophisticated, organized, and forward-thinking legal system. One particularly progressive aspect of Sumerian society was the role of women. Unlike many later civilizations, early Sumerian women enjoyed notable legal and social rights. They could own property, run businesses, and even serve as scribes or merchants. One extraordinary example was Queen Kubaba, the only woman listed in the Sumerian king list, recognized as a legitimate ruler. Kubaba's reign is evidence of political inclusiveness and social progressivism, setting the Sumerians apart from many of their contemporaries, where women were rarely granted authority. However, after 2300 BCE, women's roles began to contract, a regrettable regression in the evolution of their society. Still, Kubaba's legacy remains a testament to early gender equity and the respect afforded to intelligence and capability, regardless of gender. This nuanced view of Sumerian society reveals a people who valued wisdom, order, and social contribution, regardless of class or sex. Their sophistication extended not just to law or astronomy, but to how they treated the human condition, from politics and education to health and healing. Let us now turn to that final frontier of human vulnerability and curiosity, medicine, where the mystical and the empirical coexisted in remarkable harmony. Sumerian medicine, ancient secrets of healing. The civilization of Sumer was not only a cradle of writing, mathematics, and astronomy, it was also the birthplace of ancient medicine, where the first documented healing practices emerged and were carefully recorded. As early as 3500 BCE, the Sumerians pioneered the use of herbal remedies, establishing a medical tradition that blended practical knowledge with spiritual insight. Their understanding of the human body and natural substances led to the creation of a wide array of treatments: laxatives, ointments, pills, inhalants, salves, poultices, and even infusions. This diversity reveals a sophisticated awareness of how the body absorbed medication through different methods. One particularly impressive discovery was their use of alkaline compounds, such as sodium bicarbonate or baking soda, to neutralize stomach acid and suppress pepsin, an enzyme known today to irritate the gastric lining. It's the very same compound found in modern antacids, a striking link between ancient remedies and contemporary science. As early as 2500 BCE, both Mesopotamian and Egyptian healers used natural laxatives, such as ground cinnabark and castor oil, to treat digestive issues. The Assyrians, inheriting Sumerian knowledge, became masters of laxative formulation, developing bulk-producing agents from bran, sodium-based salts, and stimulants that acted directly on the intestinal walls. This demonstrates a remarkable grasp of gastrointestinal physiology. By 2000 BCE, Sumerian physicians began documenting their medical practices on clay tablets using cuneiform. The oldest known prescriptions, found in the city of Nippur, detail the preparation of poultices, ointments, and washes made from a diverse range of ingredients: mustard, figs, resin, powdered turtle shell, river silt, snake skin, and even cow stomach hair, all mixed with wine, milk, or beer. While some of these may sound bizarre by modern standards, many possess genuine therapeutic properties. Cuneiform texts also reveal that Mesopotamians used salt water as a mouth rinse, sour wine as a disinfectant, and most astonishingly, willow bark, the natural origin of aspirin, to reduce fevers. Their understanding of medicinal compounds was more nuanced than once believed, demonstrating early pharmacological intuition. In Sumerian belief, illness often stemmed from divine punishment or malevolent spirits. Thus, their medical system was divided into two primary roles, each addressing a different facet of healing, but frequently working together. Asu, the practical healer, specializing in herbal treatments and natural remedies. These were the physicians in the modern sense, treating physical symptoms with methods like washing, bandaging, and poultices. Some of their poultices, heated with resins, animal fats, and alkalis, could even produce soap, helping to prevent bacterial infections. Asipu, the spiritual healer or exorcist, who focused on diagnosis through supernatural insight. Using rituals, incantations, and divination, the Asipu sought to identify and expel demons or appease angry deities believed to cause illness. The Sakiku Diagnostic Handbook, compiled around the 6th century BCE, offers insight into the Asipu's methodical approach, including early descriptions of epilepsy, indicating surprising awareness of neurological disorders. While the lines between these roles often blurred, Asu sometimes recited incantations and Asipu occasionally prescribed remedies. They formed a complementary healing system, especially in treating elite patients. However, Sumerian medicine had its limits. Surgical procedures were virtually non-existent, likely due to religious taboos or lack of anatomical knowledge. Some sources even suggest that in later Babylonian tradition, no formal physicians existed, with communities relying instead on communal knowledge, blending folk cures with spiritual rites. Sumerian medicine stands as a testament to human ingenuity, a unique fusion of trial and error science and mystical belief. And this creativity did not stop at health and healing. It flourished as well in art and music, where emotion, ritual, and storytelling converged in brilliant harmony. The soul of a civilization, Sumerian art and music. Sumerian art is a vivid mirror of the culture, belief systems, and daily life of one of humanity's earliest civilizations. Rooted in spiritual devotion, their artistic expressions, through sculpture, ceramics, and painting, serve primarily religious purposes. Yet within these sacred forms lay deep human emotion and technical brilliance. Portrait sculpture flourished during the Sumerian era. Among the most remarkable discoveries are 27 statues of Sumerian kings, showcasing an impressive evolution in realistic facial features and symbolic power. These statues were not mere likenesses. They were spiritual vessels designed to embody presence, prayer, and permanence. Among the finest examples of Sumerian artistic achievement is the royal standard of Ur, a masterwork of symbolism and craftsmanship. Discovered in the tombs of Ur, this small trapezoidal box, inlaid with shell, lapis lazuli, and red limestone, captures two opposing yet complementary aspects of Sumerian life. The war side depicts a sequence of battle scenes, from the preparation of chariots to the march to war, to the triumphant king defeating enemies and taking captives, an expression of military might and state power. The peace side portrays scenes of banquets, farming, music, and prosperity, with the king and nobles feasting, surrounded by musicians and servants, a vivid image of post-war abundance and divine harmony. Even cuneiform, Sumer's revolutionary writing system was an art form in itself. The precise arrangement of wedge-shaped signs in clay reflected not only function, but aesthetic order. Cuneiform's flexibility allowed it to evolve into a medium for poetry and epics, most notably the Epic of Gilgamesh. Music played an equally central role, not merely as entertainment, but as a sacred medium through which humans communicated with the divine. It was a bridge between earth and the heavens, present in temple rituals, royal ceremonies, and funerary rites. Archaeologists have unearthed exquisite musical instruments from royal tombs at Ur, including lyres adorned with golden bullheads, clay drums, and silver flutes. The Great Lyre of Ur, dating to around 3200 BCE, was crafted with gold, lapis lazuli, silver, and shell, a masterpiece of artistic and musical engineering. The resonator box of the lyre often featured carvings of mythological or sacred imagery, reinforcing the connection between sound and spirituality. More astonishing still, the Sumerians developed one of the earliest known forms of written musical notation, dating back to approximately 1400 BCE. Some cuneiform tablets are believed to encode musical intervals and possibly melodies, using a combination of numbers and syllables. Though still being deciphered, these tablets offer a tantalizing glimpse into a rich and refined musical culture. Music was omnipresent in rituals, festivals, royal burials, and daily life, affirming its indispensable role in both the spiritual and social fabric of Sumerian civilization. Beyond art and music, the Sumerians enjoyed a variety of recreational activities that painted a lively picture of everyday life. Adults participated in hunting, boxing, wrestling, chariot racing, dancing, feasting, and storytelling. Children played with toys, slings, bows and arrows, boomerangs, hoops, and balls. They enjoyed board games and dice, reflecting a society with leisure time and a cultural appetite for joy. Even in the ancient world, humans knew how to balance labor and leisure. These artistic and musical legacies are not just beautiful, they are narratives preserved in stone, clay, and sound, telling the story of a civilization that was once among the most advanced on Earth. But like all great stories, Sumer's would eventually come to an end. What caused the collapse of this mighty civilization? The answer may serve not only as a historical footnote, but as a timely warning for us today. Environmental lessons and climate change. By 1739 BCE, the Sumerian civilization, once a beacon of progress and ingenuity, began to fade into obscurity. Over time, their language and culture were gradually absorbed by neighboring civilizations, such as the Akkadians and Babylonians, and by around 1700 BCE, the Sumerians had been completely assimilated. This decline was not sudden, but the result of a complex web of factors. Among them, one stands out as especially alarming: an environmental catastrophe triggered by human activity. The fall of Sumer is a sobering tale of what can happen when natural resources are exploited unsustainably. At the heart of this collapse was a silent but devastating force: soil salinization. The Sumerians had engineered advanced irrigation systems, drawing water from the Tigris and Euphrates rivers to nourish their agricultural fields. With canals, dams, and ditches, they transformed barren land into a flourishing agricultural hub, laying the foundation for the first city-states in southern Mesopotamia. However, in a region with high evaporation rates, constant irrigation began to take a toll. Water used for irrigation carried dissolved salts. Under the blazing Mesopotamian sun, the water evaporated, leaving these salts behind. Over time, they accumulated in the soil, reducing fertility and ultimately crippling crop yields. Barley, once the cornerstone of Sumerian agriculture, began to fail. Ancient clay tablets even recorded that the soil had turned white, a chillingly accurate description of extreme salinization. This process was slow but destructive. Silt from the rivers, while initially beneficial, gradually built up the riverbeds above the surrounding fields. As irrigation continued, water pooled on the surface, evaporated, and left white salt crusts. Meanwhile, rising groundwater brought even more salt to the surface. The only solution was to leave the land fallow for several seasons, allowing groundwater to drop and rain to leach the salt deeper underground. But under pressure to feed a growing population, Sumerian rulers ordered continued farming on degraded soil. This decision worsened the crisis. Wheat, less salt-tolerant than barley, was eventually removed from the Sumerian diet. But even barley yields plummeted, leading to food shortages, malnutrition, and disease. Beyond salinization, other forces accelerated Sumer's decline. Climate change and prolonged drought exacerbated water scarcity and land degradation. Modern climate studies confirm that Mesopotamia experienced a prolonged arid phase in the late 3rd millennium BCE. Internal conflicts between city-states weakened the Sumerians further, leaving them vulnerable to outside threats. Invasions by the Elamites around 1940 BCE and later the Amorites hastened their collapse. Additionally, deforestation, driven by the need for wood in construction and in the kilns for firing bricks, led to soil erosion and ecological imbalance. One environmental breakdown fed into another, creating a vicious cycle of degradation. The fall of Sumer stands as a powerful warning about the importance of environmental stewardship. It echoes through time as a cautionary tale in the face of our modern climate crisis. Just as the Sumerians overworked their land, modern humanity is now confronting the consequences of overexploitation, pollution, and disregard for natural limits. The lesson from Sumer is clear and urgent. If we do not learn from the mistakes of the past, we may face a similar fate. And yet, even as Sumer vanished, its legacy endured, silently shaping the modern world in ways we still feel today. Let us now explore the enduring marks left by this extraordinary civilization, the first to rise and the first to remind us that progress without balance comes at a cost. Sumer, shaping the future of humanity. Though the Sumerian civilization vanished from the pages of history millennia ago, its legacy remains vast, its influence woven deeply into the fabric of the modern world. The Sumerians were not only pioneers, they were the architects of the foundational knowledge and technologies that underpin human civilization. They shaped how we measure time in ways few people realize. Among their most enduring contributions was writing. Cuneiform, the oldest known writing system. It became the basis for recording law, literature, economics, and memory. From simple receipts to epic poetry, writing allowed ideas to travel through time. And today, whether you send a message, write an email, or read a book, you are unknowingly touching a legacy that began in Sumer. In mathematics and astronomy, their contributions remain undeniable. They invented the base 60 system, a legacy that still defines how we measure time. Hours, minutes, seconds, even the 360 degrees in a circle. They divided the sky into 12 constellations. These signs, the zodiac, began with Sumerian star maps. Long before Pythagoras, they understood triangles, volume, and geometry, concepts we still teach today. In law and governance, they were ahead of their time. The Code of Ur-Nammu, created near the end of the 3rd millennium BCE, remains the oldest surviving written legal code. Their development of city-states, early democratic institutions, and bureaucratic systems laid the groundwork for future civilizations. Many core principles of modern governance can be traced back to Sumerian ideas. Technologically, they changed the world. The invention of the wheel around 3600 BCE revolutionized transport and agriculture. The development of the sailboat opened the doors to long-distance trade and river navigation. Their irrigation systems, while ultimately contributing to their decline, were at their peak a marvel of engineering that enabled food security and societal growth. Even modern irrigation techniques still echo the principles laid down by the Sumerians. They gave humanity the very idea of the city, Uruk, Ur, Lagash, Eridu, places that became centers of population, economy, and culture. These were the blueprints for modern urban society. In education, the Sumerians were among the first to conceptualize formal schools, and even coined proverbs and idioms, a sign of their dedication to passing on wisdom to future generations, a value we still cherish today. In medicine, despite certain limitations, they laid the foundation for herbal remedies and anatomical understanding. Some of their treatments, like willow bark, the precursor to aspirin, are still in use today. In art and culture, they birthed traditions of sculpture, music, poetry, and architecture that would echo through the ages. Many of the world's great civilizations drew upon Sumerian innovation. But perhaps the greatest lesson the Sumerians left us was not technological, but ecological. Their decline, driven in large part by soil salinization due to over-irrigation, is a haunting reminder of the importance of environmental balance. The degradation of their land through unsustainable practices stands as a warning to our modern world, a world now facing its own climate crisis. Like the Sumerians, we have reaped the rewards of technological triumph. But also like them, we now stand at a crossroads. Their story is not just one of brilliance, it is also one of vulnerability, and it compels us to reflect on how we use and protect the Earth's resources. The lesson of Sumer is not lost to time, it is more relevant than ever. And perhaps as a fitting final note, we should remember a humble clay tablet dated to 1750 BCE, where a man named Nani complained about poor service from a merchant. This small detail reminds us that even the grandest civilizations were made of people, with frustrations, expectations, and everyday lives not unlike our own. The Sumerians may have disappeared from the world stage, but their legacy lives on, shaping the way we think, speak, build, learn, heal, and dream. Unveiling the secrets beneath Iraq's soil, history is not a closed book. On the contrary, it is a living manuscript, constantly revised and expanded by new discoveries. In recent years, especially between late 2024 and early 2025, archaeologists have made astonishing breakthroughs in Iraq, shedding light on aspects of the Sumerian civilization never before known. These findings challenge long-held assumptions and open new doors to understanding our distant past. In Kurdistan, northeastern Iraq, researchers announced groundbreaking discoveries in January 2025. This site has emerged as one of the most important archaeological zones today, a place where new pieces of the historical puzzle are reshaping our comprehension of the ancient world. Among the most significant finds were 3 cuneiform clay tablets, the first of their kind ever discovered in this region. Their importance cannot be overstated. These tablets offer deeper insight into the lives of those who once lived there and hint at major historical events they may have experienced. One tablet, unearthed in a layer of sediment filled with refuse and human remains, suggests dramatic episodes, possibly even evidence of ancient conflict. By analyzing the language, personal names, and writing style on these tablets, scholars hope to better understand the literacy and cultural identity of this ancient city. Meanwhile, stunning architectural remnants and signs of destruction, including a grand palace structure, human skeletal remains, and clear indicators of violent devastation, paint a vivid picture of a potentially significant historical event, perhaps a war or a catastrophic disaster. This palace complex was identified using advanced geophysical surveys, including ground-penetrating radar, which allowed archaeologists to see beneath the earth before excavation began. In the northwestern residential areas, excavations revealed outdoor courtyards, clay drain pipes, and domestic waste. Remarkably, the ceramics uncovered, cups, bowls, dishes, and storage jars, were beautifully decorated and meticulously crafted. Moreover, the animal bones found alongside these ceramics suggest that the residents enjoyed a diverse diet, including both livestock and wild game. This level of dietary diversity was unexpected among non-elite populations and challenges prior assumptions about rigid social divisions in ancient Mesopotamian cities. It hints at the possibility that private wealth may have been more widespread than previously believed, reshaping how we view Sumerian social structures. In December 2024, another extraordinary discovery occurred at the archaeological site of Tello, the ancient city of Girsu, one of the Sumerian civilization's most critical centers in southern Mesopotamia. A 4,155-year-old Sumerian palace was unearthed, regarded by scholars as one of the most significant archaeological legacies in the world, yet remarkably little known to the public. Excavations at Girsu had been ongoing since 2015, employing cutting-edge technology. The team discovered over 200 cuneiform tablets, mostly administrative records, buried in rubble from 19th century digs. These documents offer a detailed account of urban management, including taxation, trade, food distribution, and legal disputes, providing a rare, intimate glimpse into the everyday workings of Sumerian city life. Using aerial surveys and drone imaging in 2022, archaeologists identified structures buried beneath the soil, later confirmed through excavation to be the mud brick walls of the Palace of the Lord of Kings, the long-lost ceremonial center of ancient Girsu. With the aid of LiDAR scanning and other geophysical methods, a precise map of the site was created before any digging commenced, marking a powerful fusion of modern technology and ancient history. These discoveries enrich our understanding of Sumer and raise new questions, proving that history is still being rewritten every day. The integration of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and digital archaeology is now revolutionizing the way we explore ancient civilizations, expanding the boundaries of what is possible in historical research. This is the final crescendo of our journey, a moment where we connect with the most recent and astonishing revelations from beneath the soil of Iraq. These findings are a powerful reminder. The story of the Sumerians is far from over. There is still so much left to uncover, so many secrets lying in wait, buried in the dust of time, ready to change everything we thought we knew about the very roots of civilization. Eternal mysteries and a call to exploration. The journey across time and space to uncover the Sumerian civilization unveils a complex and mesmerizing portrait of humanity's earliest pioneers. From their enigmatic emergence in Mesopotamia, bearing a linguistic isolate and achieving astonishing feats in the Stone Age, to their tragic decline brought about by environmental mismanagement, the story of Sumer is an epic of intellect, creativity, and enduring lessons for humankind. It is a testament to humanity's extraordinary capacity to create wonders, and at the same time, a solemn warning about the consequences of disregarding the boundaries of nature. The Sumerians left an indelible mark across countless fields. They invented cuneiform, the world's earliest known writing system, laying the foundation for future scripts and inaugurating an era of recorded history. They developed a base 60 mathematical system that still shapes how we measure time and space. They were master astronomers, mapping constellations and calculating celestial phenomena with astonishing precision. They built the world's first cities, created complex legal systems, and held surprisingly advanced understandings of medicine. From the wheel in the sailboat to the very idea of schooling in the zodiac, their legacy continues to resonate across our modern world. Every time we check the time, navigate using geographic coordinates, or read a literary work, we engage with echoes of Sumer. Yet their story is not merely one of radiant achievements. It is also a powerful cautionary tale, a reminder of how fragile civilizations become in the face of environmental collapse. Their decline, brought on by severe soil salinization due to over-irrigation, remains a painful historical lesson. This lesson is especially vital today as humanity stands at a crossroads amid a global climate crisis. Sumer teaches us that no matter how great our accomplishments, they are meaningless if we do not respect and protect the natural world. Despite our extensive exploration of Sumerian civilization, countless mysteries remain. The true origins of the Sumerians, the secrets locked within hundreds of thousands of untranslated clay tablets, and the blurred lines between their mythology and historical reality continue to fuel scholarly curiosity. Recent archaeological discoveries in Girsu, aided by cutting-edge technology, reaffirm that history is not static, but is constantly being rewritten. New revelations from beneath the earth await, and each discovery opens new questions, challenging long-held beliefs. The integration of artificial intelligence, laser scanning, and advanced analytical techniques is unlocking unprecedented opportunities to decode the past. It is not inconceivable that in the near future, we will fully decipher the remaining cuneiform texts and gain deeper insight into the intellectual and spiritual life of the Sumerians. The story of Sumer stands as a powerful testament to the unrelenting human drive for discovery. It encourages critical thinking, urges us to question the seemingly unquestionable, and inspires us to continue seeking knowledge. Though long vanished from the pages of history, the Sumerian civilization remains a beacon lighting humanity's path, reminding us of both our immense potential and our inescapable limitations. It teaches us that progress must be balanced with responsibility and that the pursuit of growth must walk hand in hand with environmental stewardship. In a modern world marked by turmoil and transformation, The lessons of Sumer are more relevant than ever. They call upon us to learn from the past, to respect nature, and to build a sustainable future for generations to come. Sumer is not merely a chapter in the human story, it is an inseparable part of our shared heritage, continuing to inspire and guide us in our collective journey toward understanding and advancement.